Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about what you must not do to successfully purchase a property in Spain. Successfully means smoothly, with no issues, with no stress, with the least cost possible, and actually purchase the property. I will tell you how to do it, what is the secret, and I will also tell you my story, how I almost lost my house, because this is an excellent example of what may happen. So let's go. For those of you who don't know me, I am Gnecchi, the Real Estate Bee. This is my channel where you will learn everything you need to know to successfully buy a property in Spain as a foreigner. The more you know, the better you buy and invest. So first of all, let's see how things work in Spain, because they work differently than in other countries. For example, in the US, there is the buyer's agent who works for the buyer and the seller's agent or listing agent who works for the seller. In Spain, this is not the case. First of all, here we are talking about residential properties. We are not talking about commercial, because commercial properties work differently. We are talking about residential. So there are two options in Spain. One, you buy a second-hand properties, or two, you buy a newly built property. If you buy a second-hand property, you can either buy directly from the seller, the owner of the property, or you can buy through an agency, which is actually the most usual case, because most sellers work with agencies. Now, the agency is paid by the seller. There are cases, and there have been cases also of big agencies. There was a big franchise who was charging 3% to the seller, 3% to the buyer, not because they were doing anything specific for the buyer, but because they wanted to charge less the seller and get more properties for sale. What happened is that apparently a buyer took them to court because they didn't actually do anything specific for the buyer, won. So an agency that charges both seller and buyer is very controversial, also because it's a bit of a conflict of interest. Usually in Spain, the agency is paid by the seller because they work for the seller. They market the property to find a buyer. If you buy a new development property, off plan or during the construction, there are again two options. You can buy directly from the promoter, or you can buy through an agency that works for the promoter. In this case, I strongly recommend you to buy through an agency, because you get a lot more support than what you would get from the promoter. Consider that for a promoter, a developer, you are one buyer out on a list of many buyers interested in that new development. In Spain, there is much more demand than offer for new developments. And if you have any problem, if you make too many requests, they can always tell you, and it happens to some people I know, listen, if you're not happy, fine, we sell to the next one in line. If you go through an agency, the agency supports you much more. Still, you pay exactly the same, because the agency is paid by the promoter, but you get more help, more support. In both cases, the agency is always paid by the seller. We will discuss in detail all different options, but for now, it's to give you a general idea. So we get to our main point. What is the secret to successfully buy in Spain? It's a bit of my grandmother used to say, Pulcinella secret, il segreto di Pulcinella, something that everyone knows, so it's not exactly a secret, but it is what you should do if you want to successfully buy in Spain. Have at least one person who works for you and is paid by you and works exclusively in your interest. Who can this person be? Two options again. One, a lawyer, or two, a personal shopper or consultant. What is the difference? A lawyer takes care of the legal steps of the purchase. And usually you start working with a lawyer when you have already identified the property, often even reserved the property, and the lawyer takes part of all the legal steps of the purchase. They check all the documents, the contracts, they can even sign on your behalf if you give them a power of attorney. They make sure that everything is in order. If you buy a new development property, they make sure that you have all the bank warranties, that your money, your deposits are guaranteed. They take care of all this. What they don't do is helping you find the right property, advising you, negotiating when it's possible to negotiate, taking care of all the contacts with the agencies, with the owners, with the promoters. They don't do it, it's not their job. So in this case, the person who can help you is a personal shopper. The personal shopper is the equivalent of the buyer's agent. It's someone who can take care of absolutely everything for you. So from the moment you decide that you want to purchase a property in Spain, they can help you with everything related to identifying the right property, selecting the areas, talking to the agencies, to the promoters, doing the visit on your behalf or with you, and taking care of basically everything, talking to your lawyer, taking care of all the steps, accompanying you from the first moment until the signature at the notary. It is a very important role because it can make you save a lot of money in travels and in helping you find the best opportunity, the best option, a lot of time, because finding the right property requires a lot of time, and they can really hold your hand throughout the whole process. Now, there is also an intermediate support which can be partial personal shopper. If you want to take care of some steps yourself, you can always get an expert who can help you with what you don't want to take care of. So it's something that can be arranged ad hoc, but these two people are the ones who can help you make the right choice, find the right property, make sure that everything works well, smoothly, perfectly, without any issues. And this is the key. You must always have someone who works for you. Now, again, we will talk about this in detail in other videos because I will help you understand how to get the right expert, because there are lawyers and lawyers, there are personal shoppers and personal shoppers. So you also have to learn how to choose the right people. Now, to give you a very, very good example of what I mean when I talk about all this, I'm going to tell you my story, how I almost lost my house, this house where I am living now. I'm going to tell you what happened. So, I found this house. I was looking for a house. I found this house. I did some visits. The house was marketed by an agency in Barcelona. I did some visits with the agent. Was very professional, very nice. I made an offer to reduce the price quite a bit because the house needed a lot of work. He managed to get exactly the price I wanted, which was very good. So I signed the down payment contract and started all the process. This agent, he said that he had been working with the sellers. There were 3 sellers, and he had been working with them for a very long time. He knew them well. This was a second residence for them, but they were renting it out before deciding to sell it, and he had helped them with everything. I also asked him throughout the process to ask the owners if they could leave some items, some things that they didn't need in the property, and he did it. He also said, oh, why don't you also ask about this and that? He was extremely helpful, very supportive. We were also actually discussing to work together, to collaborate, and he really gained my trust because I work with many agents and it's not easy to find someone who is so professional, so serious, so good. To purchase the property, I applied for a mortgage with my bank, and because I am not an employee, I have my own companies, the process is always longer and more complicated. I had to give many more warranties. So when you sign a down payment contract, in the down payment contract, you put the final date of the signature at the notary. So you say, we will sign at the notary within this day. Now, if you need a bit more time, you can extend. You can sign an extra short contract saying the new date for the signature is this one. So because I needed more time for the mortgage, I arrived very close to the deadline. The deadline was Monday and I was already on Thursday of the previous week. I had been asking the agent to sign an extension of the down payment or to be able to meet with the sellers. When you work with an agency, you never have contacts with the sellers, which is normal, and it's actually much better because it's much easier to deal with an agency than to deal directly with the sellers. So I asked him several times if I could meet with the sellers to sign this document, and he was taking his time. He was saying, well, it's complicated. Yeah, I don't know, but let's see, don't worry. We arrived on Thursday, and I said, well, can I meet with the sellers today or tomorrow? No, they can't, but we can meet on Monday. So don't worry, we get everything done on Monday. And here is the point. What would you have done if you had found yourself in a situation in which Monday is the last day, but you are working with an agent that for the past several months, 3-4 months, has been super helpful, very nice, very professional, has completely gained your trust and tells you, don't worry, on Monday we've signed this other document and there's no problem. Considering that probably you would also have your own issues in your personal life, you'd be very busy working, taking care of other things, you were not maybe in the country, then you would have accepted. Say, well, fine, we signed this extension that can be signed via email, we signed this extension and that's it, you would have trusted the agent. But I didn't, because I know very well how things work. So if on Monday I wouldn't have signed this document, I wouldn't have complied with what the down payment contract says, and I would have lost all my deposit and the house. And I had already given the notice for my rent because I was renting, and I would have been basically in the street and losing the money. But now my problem was, what do I do? It's Friday. The signature is on Monday, so what can I do? What did I do? I contacted one of the lawyers I work with, whom I know very well, and he's very good. And he managed to book a notary from Friday to Monday, which is, believe me, impossible unless you know the notary and they do it for you. So I booked this notary. I sent to the owners a certified communication, which is called burofax in Spanish. Is something that you can send online via the post office website, and it arrives within a few hours, telling them, okay, the notary is booked for Monday afternoon, we go and sign. Now, the fact that they were in bad faith was demonstrated by the fact that they had not moved their things from the house. So all their furniture, their personal belongings, everything was still in the house. So they could not sign on Monday because during the weekend they could not move. The moving companies don't work. They had not arranged for that. So I told the agent that I had done all this to sign on Monday, and he reacted saying, "Oh, that's very good. That's very nice, the fact that we managed to turn the things around, very good." And basically what I had done was to reverse completely the situation, because now if the owners hadn't shown up on Monday to the signature, they would have lost the money, because they would have had to give me back my deposit plus the same amount as a penalty. So it was the completely opposite situation. What happened on Monday? Their lawyer contacted me to say we can reschedule. If you are still interested in getting the house on the same conditions, we reschedule the signature. So we fixed a new date. I got the mortgage and we went to the notary and paid. In the meantime, I spoke with one of the owners because I found her email address in the email of the lawyer. So I sent her an email and I said, "This is my telephone number, call me." She did. She played innocent. She said, "Oh no, we are good people. Why did you send us the communication, the burofax?" I said, "Well, whatever." She blamed the agent, basically. When we went to sign, the agent was furious. He told me that I ruined his relationship with his very good clients. And I said, "Well, listen, you tried to screw me, so honestly, I don't care about your relationship with clients." And what happened is that they had found another buyer. There was a French guy who was ready to pay 30,000 euros more than what I had paid. But as they cannot withdraw from the sale when they signed the down payment contract, they were trying to collapse the whole operation in this way. So what is it, the meaning of all this, all my story and all this video? That they didn't manage to collapse my operation because I perfectly know how things work. I managed to understand what's going on and to turn things around. What does it mean for you? Well, first of all, my friends, you should have at least a general knowledge of how things work. If you go on my website, therealestatebee.com, you can download a 26-page guide, buyer's guide, with a lot of information, tips, advice, and you will already gain a lot of knowledge of how the purchase process works in Spain. If you subscribe to this channel, if you subscribe to my newsletter, you will receive a lot of tips, advice, tutorial, real estate market news, updates, promotions, a lot of elements that will help you gain a good knowledge of what you need to understand what's going on, and you will also learn to select the right people. Remember, not everyone who says that they are an expert is an expert. What happened to me with the house will not happen to you because you are watching my videos and you are following me, but may happen to other people who are not part of our community of real estate experts. So remember, as I always say, knowledge is power, and often money too. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and insightful. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comment section. I will see you in my next video with more tips and tutorial and information. Thank you very much and see you very soon.